It is November 30th, 2012, and we are interviewing Mr. Arterburn, and he was in the U.S. Navy.
Just a moment, did you say Mr. and Mrs.?
Mr.
Huh?
Mr.
There is no Mrs. She died 3 years ago today.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I am Autumn Chaplin.
And I'm Sarah Washington. And we're from Manual Academy. And we're going to start by asking you just some simple questions, Mr. Arterburn. It says you were drafted into the U.S. How did you feel when you were drafted?
Just something you had to do.
Something you had to do. Did it hurt to leave your family and?
No.
Yeah.
When I just came up here to work about 9 months before I was drafted. I come from Sullivan, Illinois.
Sullivan, Illinois?
Yes.
Did you have other friends and acquaintances that you knew that were drafted at the same time?
No.
None, huh?
Did you get close to anybody while you were drafted? Like any of the soldiers you were with?
Well, later on in life, you always get attached to people, some a lot more than others.
How did boot camp in the Great Lakes go?
Huh?
How did boot camp in the Great Lakes go?
It was okay.
Was it did you have any rough time, or was it?
I didn't have any bad times. I mean, you make your own bad times, so I found out that quick.
Okay. It says here that you were located in the South Pacific.
Yes.
How did your time go while you were there? Any experiences or anything?
Well, just everyday occurrence when you're in the Navy.
You were fighting in the Okinawa campaign. What was it like? Like, you had limited weapons and there was a lot of strong Japanese garrison.
Well, Okinawa was a big push. Just that was where they were going before they went into Japan. Mm-hmm. That's the way it was, and we did a lot of patrolling there, and then that's where our ship got hit.
What was that like for you? Did you Did you expect your ship to get hit at that moment?
I cannot understand you.
When your ship got hit, how did it feel like? Was it a shock to you that it was coming, or?
No, I was in the engine room and couldn't see anything.
You didn't see anything coming. Would you buy, today, if you were still driving and everything, and you went out and just went to buy a car, would you buy a car, a Japanese car?
No, I never have, never will.
I'm on your side with that. Where were you during the raising of the flag on Iwo Jima?
Iwo Jima? I wasn't there. I was probably someplace aboard ship. What was the date on that?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
In 1945, but I don't remember the exact date. Yeah.
I could tell you about where I was if you told me the date.
Yeah. Were you still in the South Pacific then?
In 45 for a while, and then we came up through the canal to Philadelphia for repairs.
When the Japanese planes hit your ship, the USS England, you said you were in the engine room?
Yep.
And I read a little bit through your bio and some of the information you provided. The fires that were on the ship, how far-reaching were they? Were they contained fairly easily?
Not very far. I understand it was just in certain little areas, and they soon put them out.
Okay.
I suppose.
Yeah. Did you have any, or do you know if the ship's leadership had any advance warning that there was a possibility of those Japanese planes?
You could see them coming in.
Yeah.
There was 3 of them to start with, and there was I think the fighter pilot knocked one of them down, and some other ship knocked one down, and the one came in on us. It was not a true kamikaze. Kamikaze only has one person in it. This had 2 persons. But one of them was shot and dead. I guess the other guy figured he might have ended it all. So, in he come.
Now, what was your rank in the Navy?
Rate,
Your rank?
I was an electrician,
You were the electrician?
second class.
How did you feel when you were rewarded the Asia Pacific Campaign Award?
That's the thing that everybody gets that's over in the Pacific. It's like that. There was one of those ribbons up there, it's the Asiatic. It's the yellow one.
The yellow one?
Yep.
How about the other awards that you have here, sir?
Okay.
I'll let you
Explain that.
explain them. Looks like the American campaign for World War II, is that correct?
Tells you right on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was the Medal of Campaign and Service. Yeah, it was
And this is the victory one,
just the one for.
serving during World War II. Oh, that one.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, though.
You got another now. Let me see that.
Liberty? It's got the...
No, that was awarded to me by the President of the Philippines
And that was for...
for the liberation of the Philippines.
Oh, liberation of the Philippine Islands. Okay, and we'll get pictures of those, too.
All these awards that you have, how do they, like when you got them, how did you feel?
When I got the awards, it was nothing. I mean,
It was nothing.
no, it was just another thing
Another thing.
with us.
After you came back from your travels, and you came back home to your family, how did they embrace you?
Well, my folks were glad to see me, just like all of them was, you know. I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters.
It says, well, you were drafted when you were 19. Is that
What?
correct? You were drafted when you were 19 years old?
I was 18 years old.
How did you keep in touch with your family when you were aboard the ship?
They write letters. It ain't like it is today. They don't talk back and forth.
How long would it take usually to get a letter?
I don't know. It's according to what the mail did. A lot of times they have a mail bag and they throw it in there and it goes around to several ships before it gets to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know.
Are there any, sir, are there any letters that you received during your time that you were deployed?
Any what?
Are there any letters that you received when you were deployed that you remember specifically?
You mean government?
No, from your family. While you were over there, did you get any letters that you specifically had something that in those letters that kind of you remember to this day or anything like that?
Well, I think I still got a letter or 2 that my mom wrote, but no, I mean, I didn't really try to keep track of where I was. Some of them did, but I didn't. There was no point in it, because if you get in a bad spot, well, they should know about it.
Okay.
How was your food during that time? Like what
The
type?
what?
The food. What
It
type
was
of different
good.
food did you
We
eat?
had good food.
Yeah. Did you get to taste any type of native food from like the Philippines?
Any what?
Any native foods like from the Philippines and the native food?
No, we had our own food. We had our own stores aboard the ship. That's one thing nice about the Navy. You got someplace to sleep and something to eat, as long as you're not sunk. But
Well, sir, what was your favorite meal on the Navy ship?
really didn't have a favorite. But you had a lot of things, you know, that people don't. Just like we used to have beans for breakfast one day a week.
Is there any home-cooked meal that you missed while you were on the ship?
No. It was all cooked but in the galley.
Where were you on Victory Day?
On one?
On the Victory Day.
What was Victory? The European or the
The Pacific.
The Pacific.
You mean, okay.
When MacArthur, or when they surrendered on the Missouri?
On the Missouri, that was September 2 at 45.
45.
Yeah. Where was I? I'm going to think a minute. I might have been home on leave, or I could have been back on board ship.
When you heard it, that the Japanese had surrendered, what did you think?
Well, I thought it was a good thing, because it saved a lot of lives maybe mine too.
Sure.
Because those crazy people, they would fight to the death. I mean, women and children and all, it didn't matter to them. I mean, we knew that if you went into Japan, that everybody would be an enemy. And I think that saved 1 million lives at least by him throwing a bomb to them.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite a thing he had to do, you know, make the decision, and he did. I'm glad he did.
Did you have to adapt to military life in any way?
Did I adapt to it?
Did you like was it so different that you had to adapt to military life, or did you just go in there and it was just regular?
Well, I mean, I didn't adapt to nothing. I was waiting to get out.
When you went to basic training up did you go to Great Lakes? What was your, do you have any memories from your first experiences with the basic training with any of the sergeants? Or
yeah, we had, I had one friend that was a wrestler, and I used to go and be his understudy when he had a match to wrestle. He was from Oklahoma. He was a good wrestler. But that's about really it. I don't really remember a lot about Great Lakes because you're there and then you go to someplace else, and it's not impressive to me.
Did you lose anybody that you were really close to?
Only about 37
37 what?
people. We didn't have any dogs, cats. We did have a goat, but
You guys had a goat
yeah,
on the boat, on the ship?
yeah, we sold him off the beach.
Now, did you use him as a pet? He was a pet
Yeah,
goat, kind of a mascot?
And finally the skipper says, get rid of him. So,
Did you give him a name?
huh?
Did you give the goat a name?
No,
No.
Billy.
Sir, who was, in looking back in those times, was there anybody on board the ship that you became really good friends with and maybe even keep in contact over the years?
Yeah, some, and then I knew everybody that was it though.
Yeah.
Every person.
How many men approximately were on the ship?
About 200 guys, about 12 officers.
Okay. And any one person that you kept in contact with over the years?
After,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's 3 guys. One of them was from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, one from Raleigh, North Carolina, and Bishop was from St. Louis.
What would you say was your best times during your service?
When I got out. Oh, in the service, I mean, you had some good times, I mean, when there was nothing going on, you know. And like when you went into, when we went into West Coast, that's where our ship was built. And we went in there and then we went for a shakedown. Went into San Diego, we got Liberty all the time. But it was something, you know, whatever. You go in tonight, well, we go out and get a bottle and orange juice, of course.
What? Go ahead.
No, I was saying, could you explain what shakedown is?
What?
What is shakedown?
Shakedown, that's where you go down and test the ship out and run all the tests through it to see if everything is working. And hopefully it did. And it did. Really proved out good for us.
What was life like after you got home? Like, did you still live in like military discipline, or did you just go back to what you would have been if you would have never been drafted?
No, I had a drink or two for 3 months, and then I went back to work.
Where did you go back to work at? Where did you
Laternals, Laternal, Peoria. I don't know if you knew what Laternals was, you probably don't, but anyway.
What is Laternal, sir?
They build heavy equipment.
Okay.
They did. Something similar like Caterpillar, but not nearly as big.
And how long did you work there?
Well, I worked there 11 months. before I went into service, and then when I came back, I didn't like the job. It was the same thing. You went in today and you remembered exactly how that thing's going to look when you work on it. So I decided that's not for me, so I quit.
And what did you do next after that?
I went to Chicago, went to school.
What'd you study?
Mostly refrigeration, air conditioning, and electrical.
And what school did you attend?
Coin Electric. It's a trade school.
And once you completed the trade school, what did you do then after that? And did some of the training in the military help with that?
Yeah, because I was an electrician when
Right.
I was in the Navy, and
Right.
then it did help with that. I come out there as an honor student because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any life lessons that the Navy taught you that you still live to today? Like you still have them in your life, any lessons?
There's a lot of things happen to you that you don't really remember, but there were some good, some bad. Look, we had some bad times.
How long was it before you got the chance to have your first child? From you being in the Navy to then? Like how long was the time period?
Before what?
Till when you had your first child?
First child.
Yeah.
How do you know I had just one?
Well, I see your pictures in there. I know you have more than one.
And I think he was born in, I don't know, 54. He's, okay, I'm 88 years old and he's 60 years difference than I. So you want to figure that out?
A lot of counting.
Sir, I got a question. When you were serving on the USS England and when your ship sank,
It didn't sink. It didn't sink.
when your ship sunk the first submarine,
Oh,
how'd you feel?
another thing we were doing, I mean, it was,
How about the second one?
well, we were always proud and, to see it happen, get rid of something and we'll yell up.
Well, I read that you had 6 of them that you sunk, and on the USS England over the years, did you ever have any reunions with the men that you served with, and did you attend?
In 1981, I started reunions. I had one in San Pedro, California, and one in Buffalo, New York. I had 2 that year. And then from then on, I had one every year. They were here in Peoria twice, but we were all over the country with our reunions.
Wait, let's look.
Different ones that just volunteered to do it,
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's down to a point now, I don't even know whether they're having one or not. Because I think the last time they had one, there was only 9 guys from the ship there. So, we were a small ship,
Right.
and we lost guys, plus the fact that most of us are dead now.
When you were drafted, did you have a choice about which branch you entered
Yep.
of the armed forces you did? What made you decide to join the Navy?
I didn't decide, they did. I wanted to go in the Marines, because I had brothers in the Marines, and they said, no, by your occupation, you go in the Navy. I was a welder, and they use them welding for ship repair and stuff like that. So they said, that's where you're going, but it never meant a darn thing all the time I was in the Navy, because I went to electrician school out in Ames, Iowa, and from then on it was all electrical. It had nothing to do with welding. So, but I'm glad it was in the Navy rather than any other branch of the service.
Sir, were your brothers serving at the same time in the Marines during World War II?
No.
No.
They had all served and been out.
Okay.
They were older than I should show you the picture. I will.
Okay. Yeah, we'd like to see those.
It's a picture of my 2 oldest brothers.
She wanted to know, did any of your children join the military?
No.
No. What were their feelings about the military?
I'm glad they didn't go. And I'm glad they didn't go.
What's this all about?
That's just a souvenir from the South Pacific.
Souvenir from the South Pacific and a little bit about it?
I don't really know. They could use it like a spear if they had a longer handle and stuff. I just seen it I got it off him, I don't know, I give him a pack of cigarettes or something for him.
Okay. How about this?
That was something that we had
Something you
for the
were
landing party, yeah. I was on the landing party.
landing party where at?
If you had to make a landing, there was a certain group that was in the landing party, and I was one of them, but you never had to.
Okay.
And that's just to cut barbed
I was
wire.
going to say cut wire. Yeah.
And we were issued guns and other stuff that the other ones didn't have.
And a whole bunch of little pins. How about that one?
That's, if you look at that real close.
Yeah, I'm seeing the
that's-
Japanese.
So that was,
6 of them.
yeah, that was, it was on the scoreboard up on the side of the ship, up on the
Sure,
bridge.
yeah.
And that piece was cut out, and when they cut it out to scrap it, there was a guy who saved that piece. And that piece is in Annapolis, Maryland right now.
Okay.
It's in the Navy Museum.
And this one is another. Did that one come off? I don't think that was part of the.
No, it didn't come off. That's the Presidential Unit Citation.
Oh, that's Presidential Unit Citation for the USS England. Okay. Your membership in the Legion. Since you got out of the service, have you ever traveled back to the Pacific in any
No.
form of a vacation or anything?
No,
Nope. Never been back over that way.
nope,
Planning on it?
never. Only way I plan on it was going over there to get rid of some of them. That's the way I feel about it today.
During your time in service, did you guys ever have any type of celebrations?
It was what?
Did you guys ever had any type of celebrations? Like, what did y'all guys do for birthdays or something during that time?
Aboard ship? I mean, oh, your birthday come and gone, and you're lucky if anybody knew it. You didn't say nothing about it. Who cares? You were just a year older.
Did you take any mementos with you to remind you of home? I know my grandfather was also in the Navy, and I know he had taken his high school yearbooks with him. And unfortunately now they're at the bottom of the Pacific, but,
I still got my draft card though.
yeah.
The one I had to report, always carry it with you. It says right on it, always carry this with you. But anyway, no, when you're young as I was, you don't pay much attention to stuff like that. To get mementos or anything to take with you.
Take some pictures of that.
We went in one time, there was a Dutch ship, and we were supposed to pick it up out there after we got from breakwaters and take it on in, and we got out there and we finally had to tell them to slow down. We couldn't even keep up with them. The big Dutch ship, and it run about 30 knots.
Yeah. Have you been able to, since getting out of the military in life, got to tour any other naval ships Navy currently has, or done anything like that at any of your reunions?
Well, some of them, but most of our reunion, we just got together and chewed the fat.
Told lies?
No.
No?
Something, just like when we were any place, I belonged to a group called Destroyer Escort Sailors Association.
Okay.
And we used to go to all their reunions when I was better and my wife was all right. But when you went there, we never talked about our ship. Never. Because when you go into anything, especially, if it's a destroyer group, and you say England, they know who it is. Just that simple. I mean, because of what we did. And you read the thing.
Did. A lot of lineage with that ship. A lot to be proud of, obviously. And named after...
John Charles England.
Killed in...
He was aboard the Oklahoma, and he lost his life there.
Is there any naval songs you remember?
Yeah, there's Anchors Away. That's the one they play at all these things. Just like you ever been down to the waterfront when they have the Memorial Day?
We march in the Veterans Day Parade, and...
Well, they usually play that, and they have all the different services, and then they play a part of it.
Have you ever had a chance to march in one of the parades or walk alone with some of your friends? Or anything?
Yeah, in parade when Legion had, so I never walked much, I had bad feet.
Do you enjoy those type of things, the parade and stuff?
I did, yeah. But more so to just to get together with the shipmates rather than the parade, that didn't mean much.
More for the camaraderie.
That one thing where the blue one, it's got a bunch of papers in it, but that was just work I did to find my shipmates. That, when I first started, Bell Telephone, you could get on the phone and you talk to one of the operators and you could talk to her for a half hour, 45 minutes trying to find somebody, but you don't do that anymore. They cut that out.
Yeah.
And I remember in one of the things, it was like a ammunition thing, and I told him, I said, it's not on that side of it, it's on the outside of the certain thing. And, you know, then he changed it and made it to the way it was.
Made it real?
And of course, a lot of his stuff, the hedgehogs and stuff, we had to get rid of some of them, and because we had some different armament on fantail.
Right.
Fantail's back at the ship, in case you don't know.
I didn't know that.
You could run around and, you know, shorts, that's all you had on, your undershorts, because it was so hot.
Yeah.
But when you was going to general quarter, you had everything on, long sleeve shirts and a whole bit, in case you got burnt. But it didn't work for some of them. Australia for 10 days, that was, we had some more milk and stuff there, you know.
Did you get any different type of shots you had to get in order to go to England and stuff today? You do any type of different shots?
Vaccinations?
No.
Nothing about
Really?
They did anything with like malaria or anything?
No, our ship was so large that we didn't go in close enough to
Doesn't
the
look like
beach.
the beach.
See, you had to be a small ship and then be able to get in close to
Okay.
where the mosquitoes were.
Sure.
We weren't.
Yeah. That's
Is that how
good.
you knew you were too close? If
Huh?
you see mosquitoes, you were too close?
Yeah, mosquitoes don't come out in the middle of the ocean. You we had an albatross landing on our ship though once.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was raining so bad, I guess it was about couldn't make it. But an albatross is a big, big bird.
You kind of hooked him up with that goat.
It would drink beer.
You had beer on that ship?
Sure.
What the heck's going on with that Navy? Huh?
We had beer, but you didn't get it only when you went into port, and we had
That's what you say.
recreation. No, of course, when I went in the Navy, I didn't even drink. I swore off the day I went in the Navy, and for probably close to a year, and somebody talked me into it. It was, well, like I say, a lot of good times, you know.
Oh, I know.
And then we used to go aboard, when we get stores aboard, you know, all the food and stuff. They had, of course, down there, they had a lot of mutton. Oh, God, I hated that. And then every time we'd get a bunch, like aboard ship, Dad always went in the drink. He never got aboard ship first to eat.
What's mutton?
Sheep.
Sheep?
Like, were they alive?
Huh?
Were they alive? Sheep?
Not when we got them.
No.
They were cut up in
Cut up in
pieces.
pieces of mutton.
Oh, okay.
But we used to go on work details. This one other guy I had named Ronnie Brown. I have never been able to get names so darn common that's
Yeah.
bad. But we used to go on work parties, going to get supplies, and we'd get this truck to back up and shut his engine off. And by the time that he'd get it ready to go again, the other guy was headed down the street to get some more. Ryan and I'd throw a couple more cases or whatever it was on the boat, and then we got back. And Chief Commissary, he said, I don't care, but if you get caught, we're going to have to unload everything, you know, and let them count it again, but we never did get caught. But we were always looking for something, you know. And course, and then occasionally we'd get fresh eggs. We'd take them down, put them in the boot, so it was the coolest to keep them for a while. And then it's like a hot plate oven. It's a sandwich grill. That's what we cook our eggs on.
Do you still wear your uniform out different places?
You think I could get into my uniform? There is guys that can,
Oh, yeah.
but not me.
Yeah.
Only uniform I got left my tailor-mades. I get the rest of them over here to where they have these shows, Purits, whatever the name of it was. But I still got my tailor-mades. I got them in San Diego.
What's a tailor-made?
Tailor-mades is where they fit your clothes to fit you. It's made for you, not made just everybody gets the same, but these are all tailor-made, made by those people.
Oh. Was it your dress uniform or everything?
It was a dress uniform, good things. And we had guys aboard ship that were comical, you know. I mean, but we had a lot of fun, but then
Probably you.
like I say, we had some bad times, really bad. That was the worst part. And you had that many guys, and you knew them all.
Yeah, with only 200 people on the
Yeah.
entire ship, you get pretty close.
There was something that griped me in a way was we had 10 guys that had to list them as missing because they couldn't find any parts of their bodies to identify. There was 10 of them. They were just boom, took all of them to bits. They were right in the area where the bombs were. Good.